loading all the camels to get ready for the day's march. You could have drunk all the water by then, let alone keep it and have precious sips throughout the day to try and cover a pitiful maybe 5 miles at the most, because the nature of the sand dunes is such you can't go in a straight line or very fast. And then the sand just gets into every part of your body. Your nose, your eyes, your ears just become blocked with it. And your lips were split, your tongue was swollen and sticking to the roof of your mouth.
Over the course of the next 5 days, 2 of Hedin's team died from dehydration, and 1 collapsed with exhaustion. Finally, Hedin and a local guide stumbled across footsteps, which they prayed would lead to water.
Why should I die in the embraces of this deceitful desert for an unfaithful girl? I will conquer the desert and return home a hero, and all my people will see it as a manly and courageous deed.
But the footsteps were their own. They had walked in a circle. The guide gave up, leaving Hedin alone to crawl to a parched death. He struggled on. After 6 days without water, Hedin finally found the Khotan River. Luck and unbelievable perseverance had saved him.
His whole life was characterized by this will to achieve, to prove himself, to prove that he was not a failure. The failure that he had become when she turned him down.
Six months after his first disaster, Hedin was back in the Taklamakan. More determined than ever to find the footsteps to fame. One night, a local brought Hedin some wood carvings he had found in the desert. Mysterious objects which might lead him to the lost civilization buried beneath the sand.
In spite of my misfortunes the previous spring, I was again drawn irresistibly toward the mysterious country under the eternal sand.
This expedition was different. The water bottles were full, the winter air cooler. After a 5-day trek into the Taklamakan, Hedin finally came across signs of an abandoned city. He stopped and looked for confirmation. The evidence was undeniable. He had found Dantanulin, a lost city of the Silk Road.
No explorer had an inkling up till now of the existence of this ancient city. Here I stand, like the prince in the enchanted wood, having wakened to new life a city which has slumbered for 1,000 years.
Hedin's discovery was just a beginning. It started one of the greatest archaeological races of the 20th century.
Hedin's main contribution to the Silk Road is that he starts the race to discover all the Silk Road sites. He's never the person who figures out the historical significance of any given site, but he's the person who gets other people to go and figure those things out.
Using Hedin's pioneering maps, famous archaeologists like Orel Stein and Paul Pellier raced desperately to find other lost cities of the Silk Road. For these Europeans, it was much more than a race for buried treasure. It was a battle to appropriate the history of an area they hoped to control in the future. The Silk Road, a forgotten ideal, was once again a global concern. Despite his success, Hedin was still infatuated with Mille. The proud Swede wrote her a letter, wishing her happiness with her future husband.
She was at that time on vacation in Norway, and she had decided to break up the engagement because the one she really loved was Sven Hedin. So she wrote this letter to Sven Hedin. She went to the post office to drop it in the post box, and the postman says, "Oh, here's a letter for you from Sven Hedin." And she got this message that he wanted her to be happy with her new husband. And she thought that now he has forgotten her. So she got married, and he went to new expeditions.
Wounded and defiant, Hedin pushed harder on his quest for fame. Over the next 10 years, this solitary, driven man set out to chart the Earth's final frontiers. He traveled more than a third of the world's circumference, mapping an area twice the breadth of the United States. He was the first to explore the mighty Trans-Himalayan mountains in Tibet, the first to trace the source of the Indus River.
I think that the ideal of Sven Hedin was the strong and lonely man. He said that the best thing with the desert is that there are no people. A real man was a lonely man. His ideal was the lonely leader who took his responsibility and did great things for the nation, for mankind.
As he put Central Asia and the Silk Road back on the world's map, Hedin became one of the most celebrated explorers of the day. On January 17, 1909, Sven Hedin returned to Sweden a hero. Sven's childhood dream had come true. Thousands of Swedes were there to greet him, just as they were for Nordenskjöld 30 years earlier. But it still wasn't enough.
The joy I felt to be reunited with my parents and siblings and to be greeted by the old king was darkened because she was not there to greet me.